Welcome back. If this is your first time here on this channel and you experience any kind of issues with playback, please check out the link in the description to my mirrored account on BitChute.com, redpill_McKenzie. Now, today's video, we're picking up where we left off. We're at now week 2 of June 2018 with the high-level resignations. Talking CEOs, CFOs, COOs, heads of state, police chiefs, you name it. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's a new week until we catch up. And where do I get these names from, right? Well, I get them from a site called resignation.info, maintained by Resignation Anon. And despite the meme I just showed you, there are actually a lot of good people on this list. Not everyone on this list is a bad person, so not everyone's going to be indicted. Check out the links to the indictments if you haven't done so already. There's also a little feature where you can report resignations. Anything since September 2017, if it's not a duplicate or if it's brand new, you can add that as well. Go ahead, submit the resignation with the link to it. Once it's been verified, it'll be added to the list. And if it's new and it's notable, chances are you might see it on the next resignation show. Every other Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. German time. And the next show, it's on February 17th, hosted on a channel called In Real Life News. I'll provide the link to their channel in the description. So that way, if you haven't done it already, you can hit them up, ring their bell, and catch the next resignation show. Let's get to the names now, shall we? Let's do it. We have the CEO to BT Group in the UK, Gavin Patterson. We have the CEO to Standard Chartered Bank in Ghana, Ishmael Yamson. We have the CEO to Real Gold Mining in China. We have the CFO to United Malacca BHD in Malaysia. We have the chairman to the Sinochim International Corporation in China. We have the president to the Ghana Football Association in Ghana. He was implicated in a bribery expose. We have the CEO to Smile Community Action Agency in the U.S. Smile investigating accusations of misconduct within themselves. We have the CEO to the Membrace Memorial Hospital in New Mexico, Kelly Duke. We have the interim CEO to Western State Hospital in Washington. We have the Chief Creative Officer to Pixar in the U.S., John Lasseter. And also to the Walt Disney Animation Studios for the same position, same individual. He resigned from both companies following sexual harassment complaints. We have the CEO to Food Bank of the Rockies in Colorado, Kevin Segelke, retired. We have the CEO to Mobilesmith Inc. in the U.S. We have the CMO to Lionsgate Entertainment in the U.S., Tim Palin. He remains as the Chief Brand Officer, though. We have the blockchain lead to the Mizuho Bank in Japan. We have the CEO to Ulster Rugby in Ireland, Shane Logan. We have the chairman to the Philippine Daily Inquirer Inc. in the Philippines, Marici Prieto, retired. We have the CEO to Verizon Communications Inc. in the U.S., Lowell McAdam. We have the director to Spindle Inc. in the U.S. We have the CEO and president to Sojoko Group Limited in the U.S. We have the CEO to Cologix in the U.S. We have the chief to the Coshocton Police Department in Pennsylvania, Michael Orler, retired. We have the general manager to the China United Travel Company Limited in China. We have the founder to the Next Group PLC in the UK. We have the director of advocacy to America's First Policies in the U.S., Carl Higbee, resigned after racist comments. We have Lieutenant General to the U.S. Army Special Operations Command in the U.S., Kenneth E. Tovo, retired. We have the President and VP to Verizon Communications Inc. in the U.S., John Stratton. We have a doctor to North Florida Surgeons in the U.S., Manpreet Riwal, resigned amid accusations he secretly recorded women in the bathroom and patients during colonoscopies. We have the head of media and communications to the Council of Eminent Persons in Malaysia, Kadir Jassin. We have the CEO, CFO, president, and director, all one person, to the Nordstrom Inc. in the U.S., Neuralstem Inc. in the U.S. We have the Archbishop to the Ukrainian Catholic Church in the U.S., Stefan Soroka. We have the director to the University of Miami Miller School of Medicine in Florida, Joe U. Levy, retired. We have the chief risk officer to AGM Group Holdings, Inc. in the U.S. We have the director to Blue Rock Residential Growth REIT, Inc. in the U.S. We have the elections chief to Kansas State in the U.S., a Republican, Chris Kobash. Would-be recused himself from the process after Kohler accused him in a letter that afternoon of issuing guidance to state election officials inconsistent with Kansas law and demanded his recusal from the process. So he resigned, recused the same day. We have the member to the FIFA Council in Ghana, Kwesi Nantiyaki. He's also a member to the FIFA Associations Committee and the Confederation of African Football, but as the vice president position, and is the president of Zone B for the West African Football Union. All of his resignations followed a 90-day provisional ban. It is because he took $65,000 from the undercover reporter who posed as a businessman. With VP and Chief Merchandising Officer to 7-Eleven in the U.S., Jesus Delgado Jenkins, retired. We have a parliament member to the Mongolian Parliament in Mongolia. We have the CEO to Heineken in the U.S., Ronald Den Eisen. We have the CEO to Heinz Hospice in California, retired. We have the CEO to Educational Media Foundation in California. We have the CEO to Wahlburgers in Massachusetts. We have the CEO to China Environment in Singapore. We have the head to the Investigative Committee in Armenia, Arg van Horspian. We have the CEO to Swiss Post in Switzerland, Suzanne Ruff. Resigned after a subsidy scandal at the company's subsidiary, Post Bus. We have these three bishops to the Roman Catholic Church in Chile. Pause if you need to read those names. We have the chairman to the Donetsk Regional State Administration in Ukraine. We have the CEO to Ardent plc in Ireland. We have the chief HR officer to Airtel Tigo in Ghana. We have the commissioner to the Fair Political Practices Commission in California, Maria Ardero. The CFO to the OCK Group in Malaysia. The CEO and president to DC Entertainment Inc. in the U.S., Jeff Johns, went to go work for Mad Ghost Productions. We have the chairman to SJM Holdings in China. We have the communications director to LGBT in Center Orlando in Florida, Terry DiCarlo. The center was the hub for the community in the aftermath of the 2016 shooting at the Pulse nightclub that left 49 people dead and more than 50 injured by the reports. We have the CEO to the Catholic Charities in the U.S., Peter Vogel. We have the communications staffer to the White House in the U.S., Stephen Chung. We have the CEO to Dave & Buster's in the U.S., Stephen King, retired. We have the CEO and chairman to Workiva in the U.S. We have the CEO to Dimco in the U.S. After being scrutinized for a company purchased 14,000 generator installed in his house. We have the president and the CFO to the Associated Students of Claremont McKenna College, also known as the ASCMC in California. Both resigned following an internal investigation of fraudulent receipts. We have a biologist to the Salk Institute in California, Inder Verma, resigned amid harassment allegations. We have the chief to the Harrisburg Police Department in Arkansas, Gary Hefner. He had been demoted from chief to the patrolman on June 1st of 2018 and admitted to sending nude photos from a city cell phone. We have the CEO to the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority in Ohio, Joel Calabrese. Due to $1 million in fraud and causing economic decline, he retired. We have the Justice Minister to the British government in the UK, Philip Lee. We have the CEO to Vodafone in New Zealand, Russell Stanners. We have the CEO to Sun Insurance in Fiji. We have the CFO to Domino's Pizza Group in the UK, Rachel Osborne. We have the president to GlaxoSmithKline plc in the UK, Luc Dubreuil. We have the director to People's Bank of China in China, Ren DeKey. We have the CEO and president to WITF in Pennsylvania, Kathleen Pavelko, retired. We have the CEO and president to the National Recreation and Park Association in the U.S., Barbara Tulpane, retired. We have the president to A. Smith & Co. Productions in the U.S., Kent Weed. Went to go to A. Smith & Co. Productions as a producer, so he just switched roles at that company. We have a chairman to Lake Wichita Falls Revitalization Committee in Texas, Stephen Garner. We have the president to the Greater Macon Chamber of Commerce in Georgia, Mike Dyer, retired. We have the Minister of Labor and Social Welfare to the Armenian government, Maine Tandelian. We have the CEO to the Ordnance Survey in the UK, Nigel Clifford. We have the president to Mars Incorporated in the US, Martine Radvan, retired. We have the co-chairwoman to the Creative Industries Council in the UK, Nicola Mendelsohn. She is also Facebook's vice president for EMEA. You have the director of the Downtown Improvement Board to Pensacola, Florida, Kurt Morse. We have the CEO to Gant in Sweden. We have the chief to the Pocomoke Police Department in Maryland, William Harden. We have the CEO to the Virgin Australia Airlines in Australia, John Borghetti. We have the CEO and president to Ford Air Corporation in the U.S. We have the city administrator to Prosser in Washington, David Stockdale. Amid misconduct accusations, he was placed on paid administrative leave back in April 2018, and then he resigned officially in June. We have the Minister of Mines and Petroleum to the Afghanistan government, Saeed Sadat Mansour Naderi, so as to not lose 2 mining contracts he had bid for in his personal capacity. We have the councilman to the Jackson City Council in Michigan, Andrew Fraunfelker, charged with felonious assault. We have the magistrate to the Vanderburgh Superior Court in Indiana, Jeffrey T. Shoulders. After being investigated for alleged misconduct involving inappropriate relationships with court employees and attorneys during work hours and on court property. We have the senior VP to ExxonMobil in the U.S., Michael Dolan, retired. We have the CFO to General Motors Co. in the U.S., Dijvia Suryadevara, retired. We have the Prime Minister to the Georgian government, Georgie K. Amid a disagreement with the leader of his ruling party, Bidzina Ivanishvili, who is the richest man in the ex-Soviet republic, after a series of anti-government protests, resigned. We have the Senior VP and Director to Adex Petroleum Development Nigeria Limited, Colin Clappa. We have the Executive Secretary to the Major Oil Marketeers Association of Nigeria, MOMAN, that's also known as, Obafemi Olawore, retired. We have the Conflict of Interest Commissioner to Nova Scotia in Canada, Merlin Nunn, retired. We have the Minister of Culture to the Spain government, Maxime Huerta, resigned over tax record after days in office. We have the Chief Justice and the Court President to Malaysia. Pause if you need to read those. We have the CEO to the Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare in Massachusetts, Eric Schultz. We have the CFO to the Automatic Data Processing Inc. in the U.S., Jan Sigmund. We have the senior official to U.S. Department of Justice in the U.S., Joel McElvain, resigned in wake of the Obamacare decision. We have the President, Director, and Secretary, that's one person, and we have the VP and Director, that's another, to the Global Diversified Marketing Group, Inc. in the U.S. We have the President to Flight Safety Services Corporation in the U.S., retired. We have the President to the Rape Crisis Center in Georgia, Kesha Gibson Carter, We have the CEO to HSCC in India, retired. We have the CEO, President, and Chemical Medical Officer, all one person, to Galactic Therapeutics Inc. in the U.S. We have the CEO and President to Kyocera Synco Industrial Tools Inc. in the U.S., retired. We have the President to Adams 14th School Board in Colorado, Timio Archuleta. We have a member to the People's Democratic Party in Nigeria. We have the Senator to One Nation in Australia, Brian Burston. We have a Chairman to the House Commerce and Gaming Committee to the U.S., Representative David Sawyer, Democrat. A day after an outside investigation found that he violated the Chamber's policies on harassment, decorum, and ethics, forced his resignation. We have the Chairman and Director to the China Travel International Investment Hong Kong Limited in China. We have the Chief to the Wiscasset Police Department in Maine, Jeffrey Lang. We have the CEO to Haydale Graphene Industries plc in the UK, Ray Gibbs, moving into a sales role for the company, so he's staying within that company. We have the CEO to Biffa plc in the UK. We have the Chief to the UCF Police Department in Florida, Richard Berry, retired. We have the CEO and the CFO to the Connect Group in Belgium. We have the CEO and President to Charles H. Wright Museum in Michigan, Juanita Moore, retired. We have the Chairman to the Coventry Fire District in Rhode Island, Frank Palin, after facing charges of sexually assaulting a patient. We have the CEO to Pictet Bank in Switzerland. We have a Director to the Canadian Silver Hunter Inc. in Canada, Andrew Moore. We have the County Manager to Volusia County in New Jersey, Jim Deneen. We have the City Administrator, the Chief of Police, and the Head Communications Officer to Kaiser in West Virginia. Karen and Tom, the Chief of Police and Head Communications Officer, both retired. We have the Moderator to the Minnesota Public Radio in the U.S., Tom Weber. Got fired for being in a relationship with the Democratic State Representative Peggy Flanagan, a candidate for Lieutenant Governor, and got reassigned. We have the CEO to United Capital Group in the U.S., Toyin F. Sunny. We have the CPO to Essentia in Australia. We have the leader to the Liberty Korea Party in South Korea, Hong Joon-pyo, over an election defeat. We have the creative director to the Bottega Veneta in Italy, Thomas Mayer. We have the CEO to Paringa Resources in Australia, Grant Quaship. We have the VP to Facebook in the US, Elliot Schrage. We have the CEO to Jubilee Insurance in Kenya. We have the Commissioner to the Kentucky Department for Community-Based Services in the US, Adria Johnson. We have the Governor to the States of Jersey Prison Service in the UK, Bill Millar, retired. We have the Chairman to the Industronics BHD in Malaysia. We have the CEO to Ohio Health Corps in the US, David Blom, retired. We have the Director to the Union County Chamber of Commerce in Ohio, Tina Knotts. We have the Chief to the Chamberlain Police Department in Georgia, Donnie Williams, retired. We have a Chief to the Jonesboro Police Department in Georgia, Franklin Allen, resigned amid allegations of mistreatment. We have the COO and President, and we have the CFO to In Suites Hospitality Trust in the U.S. We have the CEO to Conditioned Air Company in the U.S. We have the Chief to the Southwest Harbor Fire Department in Maine, Jack Martell. We have the CEO to the Northern Territory Cattlemen's Association in Australia. We have the Artistic Director to the Opera San Antonio in Texas, Adam Deagle, after just 5 months of working there, accusing the board of directors of interfering in his work and not allowing him to choose the operas the company would perform. He resigned. We have the Mayor to Grand Ledge in Michigan, Kalman Smith. We have the CEO to Metabolon in the U.S., retired. We have the CEO to Studies Weekly in the U.S., retired. We have the CEO and President to CellCube Energy Storage Systems, Inc. in Canada. We have the CEO to Jack Sports Council in Florida. We have the President to Hewlett Packard in the U.S., Ron Coughlin. He left to go and work for Petco Animal Supplies, Inc. as the CEO there. We have the CEO to David's Tea, Inc. in Canada, Joel Silver. We have these three directors, pause if you need to the Nashville Metro Public Health Department in Tennessee. We have the Commerce Secretary to the U.S. Department of Justice in the U.S., Woody Thrasher. Resigned at Government Justice's request amid flood recovery controversy. We have the Senior VP to Mintra, India. We have the Chairman and Director to China Cinda Asset Management Co. Limited in China. We have the Commissioner to Ingham County in Michigan, Dennis Lowney. After documents revealed he was using his county email address to campaign for recent primary election, he resigned. We have the Chief and the Deputy Chief, same person, to NASA in the U.S., Gregory C. Ray J. Johnson. Retired after 28 years of service to the agency. And we have the CEO to Dana Cali Limited in Australia, Danny Goman. He left to go and work for the leading Perth-based mining company. And, well, like I said, that's it. Here we go. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's a new week. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to In Real Life News so you get the next Resignations show. And as always, if you like my video, please share because sharing's caring. And if you haven't already yet, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications on my channel so YouTube has no chance of what kind of content of mine that you get to see. I hope you liked it. I love you. God bless you all. This is Red Pill McKenzie.